Hi, welcome to Video Games Revisited. Today we're going to be playing Miss Pac-Man on the Atari 2600. Miss Pac-Man was released in 1981 as an unofficial sequel to Pac-Man in the arcades. However, due to its popularity, it was later adopted by Namco as a sequel. Its popularity intact, many home console versions were also released for the Atari 5200, 7800, Commodore VIC-20 and 64, the ZX Spectrum, and lots of other consoles. Now, as you can see, the graphics aren't quite up to scratch with the arcade version, and the music you're treated to at the beginning is just a little bit irritating. Now, the gameplay is very similar to the original Pac-Man, which I'm sure needs no introduction to any gamer, but the premise being you navigate your character around the maze, eat up all the dots, whilst avoiding the 4 ghosts that are constantly after you. However, the player can turn the tables on the ghosts by eating one of the power pellets which are located in each corner, and for a brief period of time can actually eat the ghosts themselves and bag in some extra points. Now, I've never been a big Pac-Man player, but I'm reliably informed that hardened and experienced Pac-Man players will actually memorise the ghosts' movements in the original Pac-Man and know their way around the mazes very, very well to really rack up high scores. However, the ghosts' movements in Miss Pac-Man has been changed so it's partly random and part set routine. The other differences in Miss Pac-Man being there are 4 mazes instead of the standard 1, and each maze has 2 sets of warp tunnels to get you from one side of the screen to the other instead of the standard 1 from the original. Also, the fruits that occasionally appear, which give bonus points if eaten up, don't appear in set places in Miss Pac-Man, but instead enter through the warp tunnels and float around, so the player has to constantly keep his eye open for them. The humorous intermissions the players treated with at certain stages have also been changed for Miss Pac-Man, and now show the developing relationship between Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man if, for whatever reason, you were interested in that. Now, whilst this is undoubtedly a classic game, the Atari 2600 version really doesn't do it justice. It feels quite clunky and quite heavy, and to me the great thing about Pac-Man is just for it to be as fluid and playable as possible, which I really don't think the 2600 version is. So my personal recommendation would be to hunt down a port of the arcade version on whatever console you have or already own and experience it as gamers did back in the early 80s, because it's really worth your time and very addicting even today. Okay, so that's about it for Miss Pac-Man, and I hope to see you next time.